here on the JazzZone show. My name is Roscoe Lee Owens, and I am your host in the JazzZone. And as I start most shows like none other, we have a fantastic guest, a very good friend of mine, my brother, Mr. Billy Mitchell. Billy, first of all, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Well, you know, because we're here about a serious matter. The serious matter is what's happening with the arts. And I know you and your experience, but there is something that has brought through your spirit and your experience to develop this organization called SAPA. Can you give us an understanding of that experience and why you decided to develop this organization, SAPA?
Well, I've been active on the music scene for quite some time, but one of the things that I have been doing was adjudicating for some of the various programs like the Grammys, the California Summer School for the Arts program, certain competitions, the Music Center Spotlight Awards. And I judged the National AXO, which is sponsored by the NAACP, a few years ago. And I was a little disappointed in the confidence and the positive approach of some of the students. The talent was there, but when you're in a competition, you have to represent yourself. You have to sell yourself. And I noticed that my African-American students were not as aggressive as I would like. They were not as confident as I would like in their presentation. And so I thought about just putting together a little workshop that would help students approach these scholarship opportunities in a positive way, to audition, to go after a job, to speak to the dean of a college for admittance, to sell themselves in a positive way. And so we put it together as the audition workshop, SAPA, a few years ago. And I started going into schools and talking with teachers and talking with students. And the reality of these budget cuts, I had heard that they had taken art and music programs and a lot of athletic programs from schools, but I did not believe it.
Yes.
I did not believe it. I thought maybe that they had diminished some of the programs or you know, removed a class here, a class there. But I did not realize that we actually had schools that had absolutely no music and no art. And when that realization hit me, I knew that we as a people had to start attending to this, because the underserved community, the African-American community, is the community that is affected the most when it comes to programs, educational programs and opportunities. We have deficits in the family. We don't have the support systems existing in many of the families. Everybody knows what the cultural problems are. We don't have the support systems, different groups that can come in and raise money for programs and subsidize programs in schools. We don't have that in the inner city. And so I said, well, what can we do? And we started taking advantage of situations where there was no music, and we began placing music workshops. And we say workshops so that we're not restricted by guidelines, educational guidelines. You need this and you need that and you need to qualify. Our intention is to teach general music, to expose as many young people to a music experience as possible. Basically, we're talking about general music so that we can get rid of the cloud, the fear. People think that it takes a lot to get into basic music, and it really doesn't. So we try to deliver general music to as wide a population as we can through music workshops.
Now, first of all, that's
and I also have an audition workshop. We go through schools and we work with performing arts students, and we prepare them to audition and go after those scholarships.
And I think you brought a couple of roll-ins for your workshop,
Yes,
and the audition workshop
music
as well.
workshops and the audition workshops, yes.
Let me say this, because we've used the acronym SAPA. I know that the title was on the roll-in.
Yeah.
SAPA stands for?
And it took me a while before I could really remember. One of the gentlemen that encouraged me and mentored me in the initial stages of the program, and actually I think named it, Frank Harris. He's retired from the Los Angeles Unified, but SAPA is an acronym for Scholarship Audition Performance Preparatory Academy.
Say that one more time so they can get that.
Scholarship Audition Performance Preparatory Academy.
Fantastic.
Took me a couple of years to get it straight, but
you know what? When building a very tall building, you have to dig very deep. You know.
That was deep.
Yeah. I would like to start with a roll-in. You have Hutch in the studio, who is directing the show, and we want to do a roll-in. The first roll-in would be on the music workshop.
I believe so. Yes.
Yes. Okay. If we can get that roll-in, that would be absolutely awesome. And the understanding in terms of the verbiage you use to explain the reasoning is totally awesome. Part of the reasoning.
We can get deeper into that as far as the effect on the culture itself and the cultural development. Mm-hmm. And we should talk about that, because my approach, I'm approaching it as a crisis.
Okay. And
nothing less than a crisis.
I think you're approaching it absolutely correctly as it relates to where we are with that. Are we ready for that roll-in? There we go. Thank you.
The elimination of music from school curriculums is an American tragedy. Music programs like choir, band, and orchestra have all but been eliminated from most schools, especially in disadvantaged areas. We found that many elementary and middle school students were not receiving quality musical education. Clearly, many educators have lost sight of the relationship between the arts and effective school curriculums. Music and art are essential, creative, humanizing forces. So we began to address these problems and have developed SAPA's music workshops, beginning in preschool daycare centers, elementary and middle schools. Our workshops are a general foundation in the basics of music. Music literacy, learning about rhythm, pitch, melody, tempo, and dynamics by learning to sing and play instruments. We encourage the pure joy of creating music, which improves self-esteem and behavior. Research has shown that students who participate in music tend to test higher in other academic areas, especially in areas of math and science. Our workshops are available to any public or private program who wants to include the music experience as a student activity. SAPA, along with many creative educators, believe that musical experience is far from being the icing on the cake, but may in fact be more like the essential glue connecting the whole child to their emotions and intellect. We are dedicated to restoring music education and contributing to healthier, more intelligent, expressive, creative, and well-adjusted children. SAPA's goal continues to be helping students better realize their talents, better know how to think creatively, become more open-minded, gain a greater sense of accomplishment, enjoy the learning process much more. By building self-confidence and self-esteem, we will develop a new generation of inner-city artists.
Requires a heavy-duty commitment through you in finding other sources. It would appear that it would be financial sources and a combination of community organizations that you would synergize with. Can you share, what is needed to, and where are you receiving these kinds of help?
We've been very fortunate. We've been very fortunate in being able to partner with certain organizations. We've been very fortunate in securing corporate funding and private funding and individual donations. We've been very fortunate without having a drive down through the years just to raise money. We've been about the business of setting up programs, and unfortunately, because there's just a few of us working with the program, I've missed a lot of deadlines for my proposals and things like that. But our major funder has been Herb Alpert. Okay. For the last couple of years, he's underwritten much of the program, and which has been very inspirational for me, because this is a music program that's really sponsored by a musician. Yeah. And Boeing, the Employees Fund of Boeing, Toyota has contributed. The Fishman Foundation out here has consistently supported us. Last year, a Pasadena organization, the Pasadena Showcase House for the Arts, supported us. But we have to go out and we have to solicit this kind of support, because there's thousands of wonderful programs, and they're all looking for the same support. Right. So you really have to spend a lot of time doing that. One of the issues is finding teachers, because it takes a real dedication to go into some of these environments, be able to control the environment, inspire the youngsters, and teach at the same time. Yes. It takes a special kind of teacher. It's not just about going in, instructing in the theory of music. Right. You have to have a sensitivity, you have to have a desire to do this, and it's a lot of hard work. I've had the support of some very wonderful teachers, and we're always looking for new teachers, because this is a program of expansion. Yeah. And we've spent the last few years to solidify our program and get a direction. This is how we want to do it. We've seen things that don't work, and we've seen things that do work, and we want to take this and take it to other communities. Right now, we're working from Compton, Los Angeles, into Pasadena. We just came to Pasadena about 2 years ago. The city opened up their doors, the Armory for their Art, the Army for the Arts down on Raymond, allowed us to become partners with them, and we have office space there, Odyssey Charter School. But the most supportive influence that we've had here is parks and community services. Okay. We just completed 14 after-school programs in 14 different schools. We went into the schools 4 times, once a week, 4 times. And we worked with 12 students, 15 students at each site. And we did 14 students for 14 schools for 4 weeks. We have a regular program that we've been doing for about 2 years at Robinson Park. This is free to the public. The only thing this takes is the motivation, and it takes family support. It takes family cooperation. We have 2 classes at Robinson Park. One is on Thursday at Robinson Center. One is at Robinson Park on Thursday, and then we have a piano class following the beginner's class. We have 2 instructors. We have a waiting list that we cannot manage until we're able to expand. Okay. And right now we're limited by budget.
Question. Just in what you said, we have audience there that are looking at, how could I help? Where would they go? You have a website?
Oh, yes. The website is a very important part of the SAPA program. I tried to find, some years ago, I went to the internet to find programs and opportunities that kind of focused on the African-American community, Latino community. And I could not find one comprehensive site that was family-friendly, that you could go to and find this program, that program. And so we set about the business of getting a website that all you needed was an internet connection, and you could get all the information that you needed to get started.
Yeah.
And it's the SAPPA website, sappa.net.
Okay.
And we encourage anybody who would like to get information on programs that are available, programs that are affordable, programs that are looking to increase minority participation. Go to the SAPPA website.
You know, I wanted to say that because in JazzZone, we believe in supporting our kids and supporting those who make those kinds of, it's inertia. It's this movement, and it continues to move forward. And Billy, that's all that I've known about you all the time. So, because when people ask me, I said, well, scholarship, just go up on our website and hit SAPPA. Yeah. And it is going to come up and it's going to open up. And honestly, on the SAPPA website, there are so many opportunities for scholarships, and that is just a wealth of somebody said, well, I don't know what to do. I said, well, go to SAPPA.
Yeah, go to
many
SAPPA.
Things.
And we have music programs.
Yes.
And I'd like to include all types of arts programs.
Yes.
And I know that there are different organizations who are developing the city, the school boards, they're developing, but I don't know if they're reaching into the community to the people that need it the most.
And I think that's a very, very important point, because the outreach, as we were talking even earlier, even though you have the programs, the community doesn't know about the program, or they do know about the programs, and they're very lethargic and moving toward that
well,
direction.
that's apathy is probably the biggest problem we have, especially in our community. We're fighting some very negative forces.
Yes.
It's almost like that counterculture that says it's not cool to learn.
Right.
It's not cool to be smart.
Geeks are hip now, but they weren't before, so to speak.
So to speak. But this is one of our challenges, I think.
Yes.
As schools, as churches, as organizations, we have to figure out how to make learning, how to develop the inquisitive mind again within our youngsters, how to make learning the thing to do.
Yes.
The thing to do. When our village was destroyed.
Yes.
And when I say village, I mean the neighborhood taking part in raising the child. And we all remember that.
Yes.
We all remember when your neighbor could not only correct you, but spank you, send you home for another one. That was the village.
Yes.
That was when the whole community was responsible for the child.
Yes.
And I always say that the beginning of the end for the culture in our community as we know it is when the first parent said, you better not put your hands on my child.
Yes.
That marked the beginning of the end for us. And we're going to have to redefine, we're going to have to go back and grab some of those things that allowed us to survive some pretty perilous times.
Yes.
And not only do our youngsters not realize what it was,
Yes.
but I don't think they realize what it's going to be.
I think they have the symbol, the Sankofa. Go back to where you began and find out what you left, and then go get it. You had mentioned one thing even about a very deep synergy that we have in our community has been the churches. What has been the reaction from the pulpit regarding supporting?
You know, this is very close to me. I'm a preacher's kid.
Yes.
And my father was a Baptist minister, serious Baptist minister.
Yes.
I grew up in the church. I experienced the peace movement as a student at Morehouse College. I spent a lot of time in jail with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee.
Okay.
I know that the church spearheaded most of the social change. I don't see that happening now. Now, one thing that I've been doing is whenever I can, I visit churches all over the Southland. Some of the churches have invited me to come and speak to the congregation or speak to the deacon board or speak to the youth minister. And I've encouraged every church that I've communicated with to send one child the little child is sitting up there playing drums every Sunday that does not know the difference between a quarter note and a half note, send them to a Saturday conservatory, one of the many programs that's set up for low-income, middle-income kids. It's affordable.
Yes.
$75, $100 a semester. Send the child there. If every church just sent one child to one of these programs and sponsored and encouraged one child, we would feel a little lift in the community. So the churches wouldn't be calling on jazz musicians like me to come in and play on Sunday morning. We'd be raising up our own musicians.
I had to let that saute because that is very, very important. Yeah. It's like the statement, reach one, teach one, but when you don't have to reach, it's already right there. Cultivate
one.
Yes.
Cultivate one. And the reaction has been varied. I've had some preachers to question my motive. Why? What are you getting out of this? I've had some ministers to initiate a scholarship program in their church where they send 5 or 10 youngsters.
Yes.
So it's been from one extreme to the other. But I'm the child of the Baptist church, so I'm not going to give up on that. We're gonna keep pushing until churches really grab hold of actively supporting their youngsters where they can.
You being one individual, and I know that it takes a team, how are you working with your outreach from SAPA to the community, to the churches, to the organizations?
Well, we try to use the media as much as we can. We try to send information out. We've had many group forums, think tanks.
Yes.
Where we've pulled community people together. As a matter of fact, we initiated the Compton Conservatory, which is going on its 3rd year now. And that was just by pulling people together. We got on the phone, and some people that I worked with from the Southeast Symphony, formerly from Compton, called some of their friends, and we got together and put together the Compton Conservatory, and it meets every Saturday at Compton High School. They teach all the instruments. I think it's $100 a semester.
Oh, wow.
And all of these, and the program that I do outreach for here is the Saturday Conservatory, Lake Avenue Church, every Saturday morning. It's a wonderful program, affordable. They teach all the instruments. And we have to get our kids there, but we have to get up on Saturday morning.
Yes.
And we have to take them. If we leave the decision up to our youngsters, they're going to make the decision that they're programmed to make.
Yes.
And they're programmed to make decisions by MTV.
Yes.
And the video game, and the sneaker people. And it has nothing to do with the spiritual and the intellectual development. And this is what we have to be responsible for.
Notwithstanding that, it is proven that through music, it develops and consistently brings up IQs and makes students better math, science, and language students in school. Am I correct?
That's a mantra that's been used down through the years, and that's what's so baffling to me, that that can be such an accepted fact, proven, documented, yet the powers that be would allow that to be removed out of the learning experience. And I question that. I question the motives. I question what type of society we're trying to develop if we take away those things which encourage a child's development. If we take those things away under the guise of budgets or whatever,
yes,
either you have some terribly inept administrators, or you have a plan to lower the intellectual capacity of a whole group of people. I don't know. But I know that it's a proven fact that without the arts, without music and without arts, and without all these artistic aspects,
yes,
then your education is shortchanged. Your development as a person is shortchanged. Now, I know that music and art is not for everybody. Sports and art is not for everybody, but every student should have the choice.
You know, just in speaking of education, what they have pulled funding for whatever reason, and I like that dichotomy, and I want to work with that, because is it because we need people to be followers and not thinkers? Because I know that through the arts, the creative people are always thinking and questioning and moving the note, and it could be the dollar note or the other kind of note. What I want to say in that aspect is the obesity and the removal from the exercise classes that they had. They used to have gym classes, which they've eliminated the gym classes, eliminated the lockers, so people have to carry them. So I don't know what's going to happen with the bags on the later on, but
all of those things.
You know, in fact, Billy, this is.
I'd like to know who's making these decisions. That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know who the school administrators are that make these kind of decisions.
Let's give a phone number right now, so those people that are looking, that want to call and find out what they can do other than go to the website, which is SAPPA.
SAPPA.net, SAPPA.net.
And the phone number would be?
Well, I've got two phone numbers. The best phone number, the most direct phone number to contact me would be 626-574-5040.
Okay, SAPP.net.
SAPPA.
SAPPA.
SAPPA.net.
Okay, my name is Roscoe Lee Owens, and I am your host in the Jazz Zone. We have with us Mr. Billy Mitchell, speaking of a very, very important subject as it relates to us as a community, SAPPA, the arts and the education of our youth. My name is Roscoe Lee Owens, and this is Series 1. So stay tuned for Series 2 about SAPPA. Enjoy life with God's blessings, and thank you for being involved in the Jazz Zone show. All right. Well, again, welcome to the Jazz Zone show. My name is Roscoe Lee Owens, and I am your host in the Jazz Zone. Like no other show, but a continuation of a beautiful expression and an acronym, SAPPA. We have with us Mr. Billy Mitchell, the musician, the the author, the writer, and the director for SAPA and many other things. Billy, first of all, thank you again for
it's good to be
back.
here. It's good to be here.
What you do is so important. It has to be in a series, and I'm glad that this is the second part of our series. Speaking of SAPA, and again, give the audience, of course, that's an acronym, the correct meaning for SAPA?
The correct meaning, that came about a gentleman that helped me formulate the concept, Frank Harris. He's a retired educator from LAUSD. But it stands for Scholarship, Audition, Performance, Preparatory Academy. SAPA, S-A-P-P-A. Scholarship, Audition, Performance, Preparatory Academy.
Excellent. Now, being that that's a mouthful.
It is.
I know that's a lot to handle.
It is.
There is an incorporation of synergy you have with community organizations and partnerships. I would like to start off this show on the partnership aspect of SAPA reaching out and others reaching to SAPA.
We've been fortunate because we are a new program, and I personally have been under a very, very steep learning curve because this is different. Administering a program and developing a program is markedly different than being a classroom teacher or a musician. And I've been learning a lot, and I've been fortunate enough to come into under the umbrella of some really wonderful organizations. Our fiscal receiver, which is the 501 program, is the Pasadena Arts Council. And not only do they handle our tax situation, but Terry Lamonchek has been a very wonderful mentor to me and pointed me in some very crucial directions as far as developing the program. The Armory for the Arts, as I mentioned at the last show, opened up their door to our program. We're one of the community partners, one of the Armory partners, and our office is located at the Armory for the Arts in Pasadena. We've partnered with several programs right here in Pasadena, one being Pasadena Learns. And we have a music workshop at Blair High School every Monday morning that goes through the Pasadena Learns program. We've partnered with the Parks, Recreation, and Human Services. And that's our most extensive program here at the Robinson Park and the after-school programs for the Parks and Recreations. We also provided a program with the Odyssey Charter School. I think we're going into our third year there.
Now, I've heard of a program called Beyond the Bell.
Oh, Beyond the Bell, yes. That's in Los Angeles. That's a Los Angeles Unified School District program. And one of the administrators is Tony White, who has worked with the SAPA program in an advisory capacity. And he's also the gentleman that has developed the all-city band that performs in the Rose Bowl every year. But through Beyond the Bell, the SAPA program provides workshops in the high schools in Los Angeles. This year we did 16 different high schools focusing on performing and visual arts students to prepare them to present their talent. And it's not so much dealing with the performance aspect, but it's the presentation, the preparation, and the completion of a successful performance.
Now, the education on performing then goes into the aspect, I know you have another aspect of it, is auditions.
The auditions, yeah. That's basically the program that we provide for the Beyond the Bell, is to work with students to audition. We also have been working with NACP AXO program and their students. And once a year, we provide a 3-hour workshop in Los Angeles at the Southeast Symphony Complex in Inglewood. And the students from different AXO chapters, NAACP chapters, come and we work it out. Things to do, things not to do, things that will enhance your presentation. And we try to demystify the process.
Okay.
You know, because there's a lot of anxiety when it comes to standing before an audience or standing before a panel. And I encourage students by letting them know that that's just a natural phenomenon. I'm nervous. I've been playing for many years, but I'm always nervous. When I sit down to that piano, there's a certain amount of anxiety, there's nerves, that's natural. The key is to take that nervous energy and transform it into creativity.
Nervous energy, transform it into creativity. Let's work with that in terms of a roll-in about your presentations in auditions. So if we can have that illustrious Mr. Hutch, the director, get ready for a roll-in, because if you're prepared and you learn through your program and through other programs about the music, now it's time to transform that into preparation in terms of audition.
Absolutely.
Do we have that, Hutch? Are we ready for that? Fantastic.
Often, many bright, talented, and creative young artists lack the special skills they need to win in the highly competitive world of arts auditions and scholarships. These young people spend much of their lives developing skills, yet have not developed the discipline it takes to perform in a competitive setting. We work with students to instill discipline, daily commitment, and to set the highest personal standards for themselves. We present skills to help them rise to the challenge of any audition. As an adjudicator for national music competitions, Billy Mitchell was struck by the dwindling numbers of African American youth participating in music scholarship programs. And from this, the Scholarship Audition Performance Preparatory Academy was born. Our workshop is a sort of audition boot camp with exercises to prepare students mentally and sharpen their competitive edge. By demystifying the competition process, we strive to build confidence. We go beyond the performance to the psychology of competing. What to expect from the judges.
I want you to remember one thing. The judges are on your side.
How to deal with inner fear.
That in order to get your attention, I have to just get right there and convince myself in the mirror that what I'm talking about, I believe. My name is Angelica.
And the overall competitive environment.
There's nothing uncertain about that, and that's a good thing. But that's who you're competing with. That's who you're competing with. And you have to be just as solid and just as aggressive in everything you do.
Our workshops have played a pivotal role in helping motivated and gifted students go from this to this. From this
How can we visualize to maybe not be so nervous? How can we visualize the room?
To this.
Yes. Auditions, being prepared.
Yeah, you know, it's not just, our workshop's not about just auditioning. Basically, it's about selling who you are.
Yes.
Developing the confidence that's needed to approach any kind of situation, whether it's just meeting your friends in a casual way, going for a job, walking into a football game. It's all the same.
Yes.
It's who you are. And if you can, the less you are intimidated by your environment, the more you can throw down those walls, tear down those walls to bring out your inner self. And I tell artists, that's what art is. It's bringing out your inner self. It's sharing, it's giving yourself. So you have to open, and you have to figure out those ways to open. And you have to figure out those ways to not let your environment impose itself on you.
You know, it sounds like a different segue, but it's a great segue. How does the village, the community, prepare itself to open up to see an excellent program working and get involved? Where does that stop at? How come it's not happening?
Well, you see, this is a conversation that goes way past SAPA.
Yes.
These are cultural phenomena. That these are social changes that just have changed within the last 20 or 30 years.
Yes.
To change our young people's perceptions of themselves, to change our young people's perception of the world. I always make it a point to let our youngsters know that as soon as they step out of that high school, the dynamics of their life changes. Everything, the rules change, the way they are perceived change. They're no longer cute, they're adults.
Yes.
And the demands are totally different. So I encourage them to take advantage of the time they have to develop those skills that they're going to need when they walk into a job, when they're going to walk into a college classroom. Because when you get to college, as soon as you leave high school, there's no one there to tell you what to do.
Go to the next class.
There's no one there. You're on your own.
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of our young people actually grasp the reality of being on your own. That's more difficult than being in a structured environment.
You know, but I still want to hit